Hi, my name is Dan Toms, and I'm doing the visual effect work for Sharks of the Corn. So it began about 15 years ago with a place called Video Zone, who would often rent VHS tapes there, and they had a pretty good horror selection. And every so often I would pass a video called Truth or Dare, and the cover art kind of made it seem like it was a very extreme movie. There's a lot of 80s slasher movies and some older ones there. But this one just seemed to really stand out, and I was almost afraid for a while because I was thinking maybe it was some sort of Faces of Death movie or something that was going to be pretty extreme, or maybe something that would have me see something I really didn't want to see. But eventually I did rent it, and it ended up being a pretty good, campy, fun movie. So around this time, Netflix was starting to appear, and Blockbuster Online was trying to compete with them, so I ended up going with them. And that was back when they used to just mail you DVDs in the mail. So it got to a point where I would get the DVDs in the mail, I would make a copy of it, and then I would drive up the street, put it in the mail, and as soon as it was registered as being in the mail system, Blockbuster would then send out another DVD, and I would actually end up getting one almost every other day. At a certain point, they think they noticed, and they started throttling it, but I was able to get the sequels to Truth or Dare 2 and 3. I was able to get Creep, Killing Spree, and I think there was one about aliens. At a certain point, my wife convinced me to reach out to Tim and just, I believe he had an email form on his website, and we just got in contact. I had been making some movies since I was a kid. Nothing huge, but just things with our friends. And I sent him a couple copies of mine. He sent me a few more copies of his that I hadn't seen yet. And we just sort of kept in contact over the years. And then around 2010 or so, he was making part 4 of Truth or Dare, and the person editing it hadn't responded, so he sent that footage over to me, and I was able to edit the movie, do a few special effects. And prior to that, I had also contributed a scene with a couple of my friends. So it was sort of our last big filming thing with my old filming crew before everyone spread out across the country and sort of moved their own ways. So that leads up to now, where we are working on a new project, and I'm mainly doing the visual effects. Another person is helping with editing, so between the two of us, we're just trying to get this movie done in roughly a 2-month post-processing time frame. And I've been primarily working with digital explosions, some shark effects, and general digital blood and gore and things like that. So using my old trusty computer and a free copy of Blender, I have taken the task and started to work through some of these projects. So Blender has been sort of a learning process for me. I've had some experience with Lightwave way back when, 99, 2000, upwards to 2005, and then I sort of dropped it after that. At the time, I was running on old Pentium 2, and it would sometimes take up to 4 hours to render a single frame of standard definition footage. Luckily, computers are a little bit faster now, but now we're doing 4K, which is several magnitudes more complex and more higher resolution than standard definition, of course. So even with the more intense computers, we are taking a lot of time to render each frame. So I've primarily done some the explosion simulations, which took a bit of processing power, as well as just the fact that a 4K frame just takes a while. I had to learn a few things in the meantime, so I did a lot of the Blender tutorials. So pretty much everything you see here is almost from going from scratch to having a finished product in the span of like a month or two. So that said, it's been a fun learning process and been very informative, and hopefully going forward I can use what I've learned here to move on to the next project and hopefully create more things. It's been good to get back into the creative spirit for a while and actually produce something that I'm happy with and help someone else out too.